Hi, I will continue with my reading and explanations about how to know if a spirit that claims to be some character or claims to be some important character is who he claims to be. Basically, how to know if the identity of a spirit is good or not. And I will do so by reading and commenting upon item 267 of Medium's book by Allan Kardec. For those who are not familiar with this author, with this scientist, I suggest you that you download this book. It's available in the internet for free download. And in this item 267, there we can find a list of things or a list of clues for us to help us, a list of clues to help us to identify or to tell a good spirit from a bad spirit. And also would like to tell you that this is important not only for the viewers to make sure that the video or the communications they are watching are feasible, are possible, but also I would like to call the attention of the mediums, because if they are letting their gifts to be used by inferior spirits or by spirits that falsify communications, that tell lies, they are letting their gifts to be used by inferior spirits, and there will be some bad consequences for the mediums if they keep on doing so. Mediumship is something that must always be used for good purposes, and always must be done beside Jesus, side by side with Jesus' thoughts and teachings and lessons. So here we have some clues that help us to learn more about spirits, about good spirits, about bad spirits, and mainly help us to identify if the spirit is good or not. I will go on reading item 7. And item 7 says, good spirits only state what they know. They are silent or confess their ignorance in the regard of subjects with which they are unacquainted. Bad spirits talk boldly of everything regardless of truth. Every scientific heresy, every theory opposed to common sense betokens fraud on the part of the spirit who is communicating, if he claims to be of high degree. I guess it's self-explanatory. It makes clear that good spirits only talk about what they know, and inferior spirits, they have no problems with talking about everything. Item 8. We may also recognize inferior spirits by their random predictions of future events and their minute assertions in regard to pretended facts of which we know nothing. Good spirits sometimes give us a hint or a presentiment of future events when some useful end is to be gained by so doing, but they never or rarely give minute details or fixed dates. The announcement of some given event as being destined to occur at a given period is usually a hoax. Item 9. Superior spirits express themselves simply and conscientiously, and their communications are clear, intelligible, and easily understood. They say much in a few words. For every word they employ, has its meaning. Inferior and shallow spirits, on the contrary, often endeavor to disguise their poverty of ideas under a pompous and inflated style, and are often pretentious, ridiculous, or obscure while trying to appear profound. Item 10. Good spirits never command, never assume airs of authority. They give us counsel, and if we do not attend to them, they retire. Evil spirits are imperious. They give orders, they do make us obey them, and persist in staying even when bidden to go away. Every spirit who assumes a tone of command betrays his inferiority. Evil spirits are exclusive and absolute in their in their opinions, and pretend that they alone speak the truth. They demand a blind credence. Let me change page here. They demand a blind credence and never appeal to reason because they know that reason would unmask their pretensions. Item 11. Clue 11. Good spirits never flatter. They approve what is right, but always with moderation. Evil spirits overwhelm us with exaggerated praise. They contrive. Let me see here where it was. They contrive to stimulate pride and vanity, even while ostensibly preaching humility, and they rarely fail to exalt the personal importance of those whom they seek to ensnare. I will read this item again. Good spirits never flatter. They approve what is right, but always with moderation. Evil spirits overwhelm us with exaggerated praise. They contrive to stimulate pride and vanity, even while ostensibly preaching humility, and they rarely fail to exalt the personal importance of those whom they seek to ensnare. Item 12. Superior spirits are above familiarities and trifles. Only commonplace spirits attach importance to petty tales incompatible with really elevated ideas. Every petty prescription is a certain mark of inferiority to the part of a spirit, whatever may be the name he assumes. The assumption of eccentric and ridiculous names by spirits is always to be distrusted, and those who assume them may always be sent down as trying to impose on our credulity. It would be absurd to regard such extravagances with respect. We must be equally on our guard when spirits present themselves under names held in high respect or veneration, for it is especially in such cases that critical examination is necessary. Respected and venerated names being too often only a mask, intended to deceive us as to real quality of the spirits by whom they are assumed. By borrowing great names, inferior spirits often seek to flatter a medium's vanity, and they then lead him to regrettable absurdities. Well, this is item 14. This is one of the main reasons why we should be very careful when we see mediums claiming or channeling great personalities such as Jesus, such as Moses, such as Mary Magdalene, Judas, or any important personality of history. When spirits or when inferior spirits use their names to try to call our attention and try to make themselves believed. It doesn't mean that superior spirits or that famous characters cannot communicate, but it's important that we have in mind all these clues to try to evaluate if the communication is correct or not, it's good or not. And one thing that must be stressed, that you must pay attention, is that it's not because a person was famous while he was here on earth. It's not because of that he is or she is a superior spirit or a spirit that must be given credit for what he says. A famous person is nothing but a famous person. It doesn't give the person superior moral qualities, and moral qualities are what distinguish a superior from an inferior spirit. So I will read this item 14 again, so we can have in mind what is important, because we are always seduced by famous persons, by famous names. So I'm reading again item 14. We must be equally on our guard when spirits present themselves under names held in high respect or veneration, for it is especially in such cases that critical examination is necessary, respected and venerated names being too often only a mask intended to deceive us as the real quality of the spirits by whom they are assumed. By borrowing great names, inferior spirits often seek to flatter a medium's vanity, and they then lead him to their regrettable absurdities. Item 15. Good spirits are scrupulous of giving us advice in regard to our action in the affairs of our daily life, and only do so for the attainment of some serious and useful end. We must never act upon any spirit advice unless the advice thus given is entirely approved of by our reason and judgment. In all such cases, we should carefully reflect before following any such advice, or we may expose ourselves to very disagreeable and even dangerous sin. Well, this is an item that I have to comment something, because when we try to get some advice from a superior spirit will tell us the truth, will tell us what is necessary for a good ending, right? And will tell us to do this or to do that, even against our will, against our wish, against our desire. They will tell us to do what's correct. And inferior spirits will tell us what we want to hear, what we want to listen. So let's take one example. If we look for a spirit and ask them if we should or should not do an abortion. A superior spirit will always tell us that we should not do this because there is our commitment involved in this case. There is a spirit to be born involved in this case, in this situation, and by doing so we would be going against laws, against God's laws. There will be consequences for us if we do so. But if we go to an inferior spirit and ask the same question, the spirit will tell us, well, you can do whatever you want. You are free to make your choices. You have your free will. You can make the decisions you want. There will be no consequences. We are spirits. We cannot die, and the child that you abort will not feel anything. The child will be okay. So this is the difference. When we are going through a hard situation, spirits will tell us to do what's best for us, and inferior spirits will tell us to do what we want to hear, what's easier for us, and they not have any commitment with what's right or with truth or with God. I will stop by now here, and next time I will go on reading and commenting some clues, some indications for us to understand or to learn to identify a good spirit from a bad spirit, to see if the communications that we are receiving or that we are providing the communications are from a good or from a bad spirit. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.